Hey guys, welcome to the another video. My name is Mohit. Welcome to my channel English podcast.
I'm so happy to have you here with me today. Whether you're walking, relaxing at home, or maybe even on your way to work or school, I want to thank you for choosing to spend this time with me. In this podcast, we always talk about ideas that help you improve your English and help you grow as a person. Today, I want to share something that I think is really important for all of us. It's about how your beliefs create your reality. Yes, your beliefs. Those ideas you have about yourself, about other people, and about the world around you. They actually shape your life in ways you might not even notice. Now, let me ask you this. Have you ever thought about why two people can have the same problem, but react in completely different ways? Or why some people keep moving forward, even when things get hard, while others give up? Very often, the answer is simple. It's because of their beliefs. Beliefs are like invisible glasses we wear. They change how we see everything. And because they change how we see things, they change how we feel and what we do. If you believe you can learn something, you probably will. But if you believe you can't, you might not even try. That's why beliefs are so powerful. They create your reality, not because they change the facts, but because they change you and how you deal with the facts. In today's episode, we're going to explore this idea together. First, I'll explain what beliefs really are. Not in a complicated, academic way, but in a simple way that makes sense. Then, we'll look at where our beliefs come from. I'll share some examples and personal stories that I think you'll find interesting. We'll talk about how beliefs can help us, but also how they can hold us back. I'll introduce you to the idea of limiting beliefs. These are the beliefs that stop us from reaching our goals. And don't worry, I won't just leave you with the problem. I'll also share some practical tips that you can start using today to change your beliefs and, slowly, change your reality. So, I invite you to stay with me, listen carefully, and think about your own beliefs as we go through this journey. And remember, as always, my goal on Code Your English is to help you not only practice your English listening, but also to help you learn something useful and meaningful for your life. Let's get started. What are beliefs, really? So, let's start by asking a very simple but important question. What are beliefs, really? You know, we all have beliefs. Every day we live according to them, we make decisions based on them, and they influence how we feel. But have you ever stopped to think about what a belief actually is? Sometimes we use the word belief without really understanding it. So let's break it down together. A belief is simply an idea that you feel sure about. It's something that you accept as true, even if you don't have complete proof. It's not just a passing thought that comes and goes. A belief is like a strong idea that stays in your mind and shapes how you see the world. It's like the story you tell yourself about life, about yourself, and about other people. And here's the key. A belief doesn't have to be a fact. Just because you believe something doesn't mean it's 100% true. But for you, it feels true. Now, let's take a moment to understand how beliefs are different from thoughts and facts. This is important because sometimes we mix them up without realizing it. A thought is something that appears in your mind. Thoughts come and go all the time. For example, right now you might think, I'm enjoying this podcast, or I'm a little tired today. Tomorrow, you might think something completely different. Thoughts are temporary. They can change in seconds. But a belief is stronger than that. A belief is a thought that you have accepted as true, again and again, until it becomes part of how you see life. It's something that stays with you. It's something that guides your choices without you even noticing. And how are beliefs different from facts? Well, a fact is something that is true no matter what anyone thinks or feels. It's reality that can be proven. For example, it's a fact that water boils at 100 degrees Celsius at sea level. It's a fact that the sun rises in the east. These are facts because they are true whether you believe them or not. Beliefs, on the other hand, are personal. They depend on how you see things. For example, some people believe that the world is a friendly place. Others believe that the world is dangerous. Both of these are beliefs, not facts. The world is the same, but the belief changes how people experience it. Let's look at some simple examples of everyday beliefs, the kind of beliefs most of us never even stop to question. Maybe you believe that hard work always leads to success. Or maybe you believe that you're not good at speaking in public. Some people believe they are lucky, while others believe they are unlucky. Some believe that money is the key to happiness. Others believe that love is more important than anything else. Think about these beliefs for a second. They're not facts. You can't prove that hard work always leads to success in every situation. You can't prove that someone is unlucky in every part of their life. But if you hold these beliefs, they will guide how you act, how you feel, and even what you notice around you. Here's a personal example I'd like to share. For many years, I believed that I wasn't good at learning new languages. I told myself this again and again. I'm just not a language person. And you can probably guess what happened. I avoided situations where I had to speak in another language. I felt nervous when I tried. And because I believed I wasn't good at it, I didn't practice enough, and I didn't improve. The belief created the reality. It wasn't that I couldn't learn. It was that my belief stopped me from giving myself a real chance. Maybe you can relate to this. Maybe you've had a belief like that, about English, or about something else in your life. And what's interesting is that most of our beliefs come from things we heard or experienced a long time ago. We get them from our family, our culture, our school, and our early experiences. For example, if your parents always said, "Be careful, the world is full of danger," you might grow up believing that the world is not a safe place. Or if your teacher said, "You're really smart," you might believe you're intelligent and capable. But do we always stop to ask, is this belief true? Is it helpful? The truth is, most of us don't. We accept these beliefs and live by them without questioning. So, as you listen to this, I want to invite you to pause for a moment. Think about your own beliefs. What are some of the things you believe about yourself, about people, or about life? And where do these beliefs come from? Have you ever stopped to ask yourself if they're really true, or if they're just ideas that you've accepted over time? Remember, beliefs are powerful because they feel like the truth, but they are not always facts. And the good news is, because beliefs are not facts, they can be changed. We'll talk more about that later in the episode. For now, just try to notice your beliefs. Start to see them as stories that you've been telling yourself. Some of these stories help you. Some might be holding you back. But the first step is simply to see them clearly. The invisible power of beliefs. Let's now talk about something that is both simple and powerful. The invisible power of beliefs. You see, beliefs are not always loud. They don't always shout at us or demand our attention. In fact, most of the time, they're completely silent. But just because they're silent doesn't mean they aren't strong. Beliefs work quietly, like a program running in the background of your mind. They guide your thoughts, your feelings, your choices, often without you even realizing it. And this is what makes them so powerful. They can either push you forward or hold you back. And they do it in a way that feels so natural that you don't even notice it's happening. Let's take an example that many of you might find familiar. Learning a language. Imagine two people who are both trying to learn English. One of them believes, "I'm just bad at languages. I've never been good at learning languages, and I never will be." The other person believes, "Learning a language takes time, but I can do it. I just need to keep trying." Now, think about how these two beliefs will shape their actions. The first person, the one who believes they're bad at languages, will probably feel nervous when they speak. They might avoid situations where they have to use English. They might give up easily after making a mistake because, in their mind, that mistake is proof that they were right all along, that they're bad at this. And over time, This belief will create their reality. They will not improve, not because they can't, but because their belief stopped them from practicing enough to improve. Now let's look at the second person. This person believes that they can learn. So even when they make mistakes, and of course, we all make mistakes when learning something new, they don't feel like a failure. Instead, they see mistakes as part of the process. They keep trying. They might even ask for help or find new ways to practice. And because they keep going, they actually get better. Their belief creates a different reality, a more positive one. It's not magic. It's simply the quiet power of belief working in the background, shaping what they do, how they feel, and what results they get. This idea is often called a self-fulfilling prophecy. Maybe you've heard that term before. A self-fulfilling prophecy means that what you believe influences what you do, and what you do makes your belief come true. For example, if you believe that you're not interesting, you might stay quiet in conversations. And because you stay quiet, people don't get to know you. And then you think, see, I was right. People don't find me interesting. But it wasn't that you weren't interesting. It was that your belief made you act in a way that kept people away. This happens in so many parts of life. In relationships, in work, in learning, in our personal dreams. Our beliefs silently guide us, and we create a reality that matches those beliefs. There's a well-known idea called the growth mindset, which comes from an American psychologist named Carol Dweck. Maybe you've heard of it. The growth mindset is the belief that abilities can be developed through hard work, learning, and effort. People with a growth mindset believe that even if they are not good at something now, they can improve if they keep going. On the other hand, people with a fixed mindset believe that their abilities are set, that they are either good at something or not, and there's not much they can do to change that. And studies have shown that people with a growth mindset usually do better in school, at work, and in life. Why? Because they believe improvement is possible, so they try harder. They don't give up as easily, and they see challenges as opportunities to grow. Again, it's the invisible power of belief at work. Let me share a simple story from my own life. When I was younger, I used to believe that I wasn't creative. I thought creativity was something that other people had. Artists, musicians, writers, but not me. So, I never really tried creative things. I avoided art classes, I didn't write stories, I didn't even try to learn to play an instrument. But one day, a friend encouraged me to try writing just for fun. No pressure, no judgment. I was nervous at first, but I gave it a go. And to my surprise, I enjoyed it. The more I practiced, the more I started to see that creativity isn't something you're born with or without. It's something you can develop. My belief that I'm not creative had stopped me for so many years. But once I let go of that belief, I discovered a whole new part of myself. And this can happen to anyone. The beliefs we hold about who we are, about what's possible, can open doors or close them, often without us even knowing it. So, I want to ask you to think about this. What are some beliefs that might be silently shaping your life right now? Maybe beliefs about your ability to learn English? About your talents? About what kind of person you are? Sometimes, these beliefs are so deep that we don't even notice them. But they're there, quietly influencing what we try, what we avoid, how we feel, and what results we see. The good news is that because beliefs are invisible and personal, they can change. You can start today by simply noticing them. When you hear yourself thinking, I can't do this, or I'm not good at that, stop for a moment. Ask yourself, is this really true? Or is this just a belief I've been carrying around without questioning? The more you notice your beliefs, the more power you have to choose new ones. Beliefs that support you, that help you grow, and that help you create the reality you want. Where do our beliefs come from? Now that we've talked about what beliefs are and how they shape your reality, let's take a step back and ask, Where do our beliefs come from? This is such an important question, because if we can understand where a belief comes from, we can start to see it more clearly. And when we see it clearly, we can choose what to do with it, whether to keep it, change it, or let it go. Most of our beliefs don't just appear from nowhere. They come from the people and places around us, especially when we are young. Think about your family. From the time we are small children, we hear messages from our parents, our grandparents, and other people in our family. Maybe your parents always said, "Work hard and you will succeed." Or maybe they said, "Life is difficult. Don't expect too much." Without even thinking about it, we take these ideas into our minds. They become part of the story we tell ourselves about the world. Our culture is another big source of our beliefs. Every culture teaches us certain ideas about what is good, what is bad, what is possible, and what is not. For example, in some cultures, people believe that it's better to be quiet and humble. In other cultures, people believe that you should speak up and share your opinions. These are cultural beliefs, and they can shape how we act, how we feel, and even how we see ourselves. And very often, we don't even stop to ask where these ideas came from. We just live by them, because they feel normal to us. School is another place where we pick up beliefs. Maybe a teacher once told you, "You're good at math," or "You're not very good at writing." Even if the teacher didn't mean to create a belief, those words can stay with you for years. You start to believe that you are the kind of person who is good at one thing, but not at another. And the more you believe it, the more it becomes your reality. The same can happen with friends, classmates, or even what we see on TV or social media. All of these can plant beliefs in our minds. And of course, our own experiences play a huge role. Imagine that you tried something once, and it didn't go well. Maybe you tried to give a speech in front of your class, and you felt nervous. You might start to believe, "I'm not good at public speaking." Or maybe you tried to cook a meal, and it didn't turn out the way you wanted. You might believe, "I'm a bad cook." But here's the thing. One experience doesn't mean it will always be that way. Still, our minds like to create stories to make sense of the world. And those stories become beliefs. So I want to invite you to reflect for a moment. Think about a belief you have about yourself. Maybe something like, "I'm not good at learning languages," or "I'm not a creative person," or even, "I always mess things up." Now, ask yourself, where did this belief come from? Did someone tell you this? Did you have one or two experiences that made you feel this way? Is this belief really true? Or is it just something you've accepted without questioning? It's not always easy to see where our beliefs started. But when we start asking these questions, we open the door to change. We begin to see that many of our beliefs were given to us by our family, our culture, our teachers, or our past. And that means we can choose which beliefs to keep and which ones to change. The first step is simply to notice. So as you go through your day, pay attention to the beliefs that guide your actions. And ask yourself, where did this belief come from? Is it helping me, or is it holding me back? Beliefs and self-fulfilling prophecies. Let's now talk about something that connects directly to what we've been discussing. The idea of a self-fulfilling prophecy. This might sound like a complicated phrase at first, but don't worry. It's actually quite easy to understand, and it's something you've probably experienced in your own life, even if you didn't have a name for it. A self-fulfilling prophecy is when your belief about something makes you act in a way that causes that belief to come true. In other words, what you expect to happen influences how you behave, and because of that, the result matches your belief. It's like you predict something, and then your actions help make that prediction real, without you even realizing it. Let's look at a simple example from learning English. Imagine you believe, deep down, that you're not good at languages. Maybe this belief started when you struggled in school, or maybe someone told you this when you were younger. Because you believe this, you might feel nervous when you speak English. You might avoid conversations in English because you're afraid of making mistakes. You don't practice as much as you could because it feels uncomfortable or useless. And what happens? You don't improve as much as you want. Then you say to yourself, "See? I knew it. I'm not good at languages." But was the problem really that you can't learn languages? Or was it that your belief shaped your actions, and your actions created the result? This kind of thing happens in many parts of life. Let's think about relationships. If you believe that people can't be trusted, you might act in ways that keep people at a distance. Maybe you don't open up to others, or you don't give them a chance to get close. And because of this, people feel that distance, and they don't get close. Then you say, "See? I was right. People can't be trusted." But actually, it wasn't just about other people. It was your belief that guided your behavior and created that experience. The same happens in work or studies. If someone believes, "I'm not leadership material," they might never speak up in meetings, never volunteer for projects, and avoid situations where they could show leadership skills. And what happens? People don't see them as a leader, and they don't get those opportunities. Their belief becomes true because their actions made it true. On the other hand, someone who believes, "I can grow into a leader," will act differently. They might try new things, offer ideas, or take small steps toward building confidence. And little by little, they create a reality where leadership becomes possible. What's really interesting is that self-fulfilling prophecies are not always negative. They can be positive too. If you believe you can improve, if you believe that effort pays off, you're more likely to keep going when things get hard. You're more likely to look for solutions instead of giving up. And because of that, you do improve, and you do see results. Your positive belief leads to positive action, and that action leads to success. This is why changing your beliefs can be so powerful. When you change what you believe, you change how you act. And when you change how you act, you start to create a new reality for yourself. Let me share a small personal story. Some years ago, I had a friend who wanted to apply for a new job, but she kept saying, "I'm sure I won't get it. I'm just not the kind of person they want." Because of that belief, she didn't put much effort into her application. She didn't practice for the interview because, in her mind, there was no point. And as you can probably guess, she didn't get the job. Afterward, she said, "See? I knew I wouldn't get it." But the truth was, her belief had shaped how she prepared. Her actions, or really, her lack of action, played a big part in the result. So what can we learn from this? We can learn that beliefs and actions are deeply connected. Your beliefs guide what you do, and what you do creates the results you see. That's why it's so important to become aware of your beliefs. Ask yourself, what do I believe about myself? About my abilities? About other people? And then ask, are these beliefs helping me? Or are they making life harder for me? When you start to see how your beliefs shape your actions, you can begin to break the cycle. You can choose to believe something that helps you grow, something that gives you strength. And when you do that, your actions will change, and so will your reality. Limiting versus empowering beliefs. Now that we've talked about how beliefs can shape your reality, let's take a closer look at the two types of beliefs that have the biggest impact on your life: limiting beliefs and empowering beliefs. These two kinds of beliefs are like two different voices in your mind. One voice tries to hold you back, to keep you small, to stop you from reaching your full potential. That's the voice of limiting beliefs. The other voice pushes you forward. It tells you that you can learn, grow, and achieve. That's the voice of empowering beliefs. And the beliefs you choose to listen to will make all the difference in what kind of life you create for yourself. So, what exactly is a limiting belief? A limiting belief is an idea you hold about yourself, other people, or the world that stops you from trying new things or reaching your goals. It's a belief that puts up a wall in your mind and says, "You can't do that." These beliefs often sound like, "I'll never be good at this. I'm just not that kind of person." I always fail at things like this, or people like me don't succeed. The problem with limiting beliefs is that they feel so real. When you believe these things, you act in ways that match the belief. You don't try, or you give up quickly, or you feel afraid to take risks. And as we've already seen, these actions create a reality that proves your belief was right, even if the belief wasn't true in the first place. On the other hand, empowering beliefs do the opposite. They give you energy, motivation, and courage. Empowering beliefs help you see challenges as opportunities, not as walls you can't climb. They sound like, I can improve with practice. I don't have to be perfect to make progress. Mistakes are part of learning. Or, every day is a chance to grow. When you hold empowering beliefs, you are more likely to keep going when things get difficult. You're more likely to look for solutions instead of focusing on problems. And because you act with more confidence and hope, you start to see better results. Let me share a personal example with you. A few years ago, I believed that I wasn't good at public speaking. This belief started when I had a bad experience giving a short speech at school. I felt nervous, forgot some of my words, and saw people looking at me with confused faces. After that, I told myself, I'm just not a good speaker. I always mess up. And for a long time, that belief stopped me from speaking up in meetings or sharing my ideas in groups. But one day, I was given the chance to run a small workshop. I almost said no because of my belief. But then I thought, what if this is just a belief I've accepted? What if I can learn to be better? I decided to prepare well, practice a few times at home, and remind myself that I didn't have to be perfect. I just had to do my best. The workshop went well. People thanked me afterward and said they found it helpful. That experience helped me change my belief. I started to tell myself, I can be a good speaker if I prepare and practice. And you know what? Each time I spoke after that, I felt a little more confident. The empowering belief helped me grow, and it opened new doors for me. This is why it's so important to become aware of the beliefs you hold. Many of us walk around every day with limiting beliefs that we don't even notice. They feel normal to us because we've had them for so long. But if we stop and ask ourselves the right questions, we can start to see them clearly. So, let me invite you to do that right now. Take a moment to think. What limiting belief might be holding you back? Maybe it's something about your English learning journey. Maybe you tell yourself, I'll never speak fluently. Or, I always forget new words. Or maybe it's a belief about another part of your life. Your work, your relationships, your dreams. Whatever it is, just notice it. You don't have to judge yourself or feel bad about it. The first step is simply to see it. Once you see it, you can start to question it. You can start to ask, is this really true? Or is this just a story I've been telling myself? And then, little by little, you can choose to create a new, empowering belief. One that helps you move forward, not one that holds you back. Can we change our beliefs? By now, you might be wondering, is it really possible to change our beliefs? The answer is yes. The good news is that beliefs are not set in stone. They are not something you're born with that can never change. In fact, science tells us that our brains can grow and change throughout our lives. This ability of the brain to change is called neuroplasticity. You don't need to remember the long word, but the idea is simple. Neuroplasticity means that when you think in new ways, when you practice new skills, or when you choose new beliefs, your brain starts to build new connections. The more you repeat something, the stronger those connections become. That's how you form new habits, new ways of thinking, and yes, new beliefs. So even if you've held a certain belief for many years, it doesn't mean you have to keep it forever. With time and effort, you can create new beliefs that help you grow and move forward. Of course, changing a belief doesn't happen overnight. It takes awareness, patience, and practice. The first step is to start questioning your beliefs. Many of us never stop to ask, is this belief really true? Or, where did this belief come from? But when you start asking these kinds of questions, you open the door to change. For example, if you always tell yourself, "I'm not good at English speaking," try asking, "Why do I believe this? Is it because of one bad experience? Is it because I'm comparing myself to someone else? Is it really true that I can't improve?" Very often, you'll realize that your belief is based on old experiences, fear, or things other people told you. But that doesn't mean the belief is true today. Just by noticing your belief and questioning it, you start to take away its power over you. Another simple but powerful tool is affirmations. Affirmations are positive statements that you repeat to yourself. At first, they might feel a bit strange or even uncomfortable. But remember what we said about neuroplasticity. The more you repeat something, the stronger that connection in your brain becomes. So, if you start telling yourself, "I am learning and improving every day," or "I can become a confident speaker with practice," you begin to build a new belief. It doesn't mean you'll suddenly feel confident overnight. But over time, these positive messages help you create a new way of seeing yourself. And as your belief changes, so do your actions. You take more chances, you practice more, and you begin to see better results. It's also important to surround yourself with positive influences. The people around us and the messages we hear every day have a huge effect on our beliefs. If you spend time with people who always complain, or who say things like, "Why bother trying? It won't work," it's easy to start believing those ideas. But if you spend time with people who encourage you, who believe in learning and growth, their positive energy helps you build empowering beliefs. This doesn't mean you have to stop being friends with people who are struggling, but it does mean you can choose to bring more positive voices into your life. Whether through friends, teachers, books, podcasts, or videos that inspire you and remind you of what's possible. Let me share a story about someone who changed their mindset and, as a result, changed their reality. There's a famous example from the world of sports. Michael Jordan. Today, everyone knows him as one of the greatest basketball players of all time. But did you know that when he was a teenager, he was actually cut from his high school basketball team? At that moment, he could have believed, "I'm not good enough. I'll never make it." But instead, he chose a different belief. He believed, "If I work hard, I can improve." And that belief guided his actions. He practiced more, worked harder, and pushed himself to grow. That mindset, the belief that effort and practice could make him better, helped him become a champion. His talent was important, of course, but it was his belief in growth that helped him reach the top. You don't have to be a sports star to do this. We can all change our beliefs step by step and create new realities for ourselves. Think about an area of your life where you've been holding on to a limiting belief. Maybe it's about English learning, or maybe it's about something else, like work, relationships, or personal goals. What new belief could you choose instead? Even something simple like, "I am a learner, and every day I get a little better," can have a big effect over time. Remember, the goal is not perfection. The goal is progress. Small, steady steps that build new beliefs, new habits, and new results. So, as you go through your day, try to notice your beliefs. When you hear that little voice in your head that says, "I can't," stop and ask, "Is that really true? Or is that just an old belief I can change?" Because the truth is, you have the power to shape your beliefs. And when you shape your beliefs, you shape your reality. How to start shaping new beliefs. So, now that we've talked about how beliefs shape your reality and how it is possible to change them, let's look at some practical ways to actually start doing this. I know that changing your beliefs can sound like a big, maybe even difficult task. But the truth is, you don't have to change everything overnight. In fact, small, simple actions that you repeat every day are often the most powerful. Remember, it's not about being perfect, it's about being consistent. Even small steps, when you take them regularly, can lead to big changes over time. One of the first things you can do is start noticing your self-talk. Self-talk means the things you say to yourself in your mind. Those quiet thoughts that run through your head all day. You might not even be aware of them most of the time, but they're there, and they have a big influence on your beliefs. For example, maybe you make a mistake and you immediately think, I always mess things up. Or maybe you're trying something new and you think, this is too hard for me. These kinds of thoughts might feel automatic, but they're actually a sign of your deeper beliefs. So the first step is simply to listen. Pay attention. When you hear yourself thinking something negative or limiting, pause and ask yourself, is this really true? Or is this just an old belief that isn't helping me anymore? You don't have to change the thought right away. Just noticing it is already a powerful first step. Another helpful practice is journaling. You don't have to write pages and pages every day. Just take 5 or 10 minutes to write down your thoughts, your feelings, and your beliefs about something that matters to you. For example, you could write about your English learning journey. What do you believe about your ability to improve? What do you believe about making mistakes? When you see your beliefs written down, it becomes easier to understand them. And once you see them clearly, you can start to ask, is this belief helping me? Or, what would I like to believe instead? Journaling helps you slow down and reflect. It helps you connect with what's really going on inside your mind. And that's where real change begins. Visualization is another powerful tool for shaping new beliefs. This simply means closing your eyes and imagining yourself as the person you want to be. For example, you can imagine yourself speaking English with confidence, having a conversation without fear, or giving a presentation and feeling proud of yourself. When you visualize something in detail, how it looks, how it feels, even what you hear or say, your brain starts to build new connections. It starts to believe that this future version of you is possible. And the more you practice this, the stronger those new beliefs become. It might feel strange at first, but give it a try. A few minutes a day is enough to start planting new, positive beliefs in your mind. Another small daily habit that can help is using simple affirmations. You don't need a long list. Even 1 or 2 short positive sentences that you repeat every day can make a difference. For example, you might say, I am learning and improving every day. Or, I can handle challenges with courage. Or, I deserve to succeed. The key is to choose affirmations that feel right for you, that speak to the beliefs you want to grow. At first, they might feel a little strange or unnatural. That's normal. But over time, as you repeat these positive messages, your mind starts to accept them. And as your beliefs shift, so will your actions and your results. It's also helpful to celebrate small wins. Many people only focus on the big goals, like becoming fluent or getting a new job. But small steps matter just as much. Maybe you spoke English for 5 minutes today without switching to your first language. Maybe you tried something new at work. Maybe you simply noticed a limiting belief and chose to question it. These are all signs of growth, and they deserve to be noticed and celebrated. When you focus on progress instead of perfection, you build confidence and motivation. And little by little, you build new beliefs about who you are and what you can do. So today, I want to leave you with a simple but powerful question. What's one new belief you'd like to practice today? Just one. Maybe it's something like, I can improve my English if I keep going. Or, I am strong enough to handle challenges. Choose a belief that feels positive, helpful, and possible. Then, think about one small thing you can do to practice that belief. Maybe it's writing it in your journal. Maybe it's saying it out loud. Maybe it's imagining yourself living that belief through visualization. Whatever you choose, remember, it's not about changing everything at once. It's about small, consistent steps that, over time, create a new reality. So, here we are at the end of today's episode. Let's take a moment to look back and think about some of the most important ideas we talked about. We began by understanding what beliefs really are, those ideas and stories we carry in our minds that feel true, even if they are not always facts. Then, we explored how these beliefs quietly shape our reality, guiding what we do and how we feel, often without us noticing. We saw that beliefs are very powerful because they influence our actions and the results we get in life. We also learned about the idea of a self-fulfilling prophecy, the way our beliefs can create a cycle where what we expect becomes true because we act to make it true. If you believe you can't do something, you might avoid trying, and then your belief feels confirmed. But if you believe you can improve and keep going, your actions will lead to success. It's like a loop that works either for or against you, depending on the beliefs you hold. Then we talked about the difference between limiting beliefs and empowering beliefs. Limiting beliefs stop us, keep us small, and make us doubt ourselves. Empowering beliefs give us strength, courage, and motivation to grow and face challenges. It's important to notice which beliefs we listen to and decide if they help us or hold us back. We also discussed that beliefs are not fixed. They can change. Our brains can grow and adapt, which means we have the power to choose new beliefs. Changing beliefs takes time and patience, but it's possible through simple steps, like questioning your old beliefs, using positive affirmations, and surrounding yourself with people who support your growth. Finally, we shared some practical tips for starting to shape new beliefs in your daily life. You can begin by paying attention to your self-talk, writing in a journal, imagining the person you want to become, and celebrating small successes. Remember, even tiny steps can lead to big changes if you keep going with consistency. So now, I want to gently invite you to reflect on your own beliefs. Think about the ideas you carry about yourself, your abilities, and your future. Are they helping you, or are they holding you back? What is one small change you could try today? Maybe it's noticing a negative thought and asking yourself if it's really true. Or maybe it's saying a positive sentence to yourself every morning, like, "I am learning and growing." It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be real and honest. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd love for you to subscribe, so you don't miss future episodes where we explore more ideas that help you grow and improve your English. Feel free to share this podcast with friends or family who might find it helpful too. And if you want, leave a comment or message to share your thoughts. What beliefs are you working on changing? What helped you the most from today's episode? I always enjoy hearing from you. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. Remember, your beliefs create your reality, and you have the power to shape both. Keep being curious, keep questioning, and keep moving forward. I'll see you in the next episode.